Excuse me, could you point me in the direction of Scream City? Never mind, I think I found it.
Hey, horror freaks, welcome back to Scream City. We're your hosts, Monica.
And I'm Jessica, and today we're talking all about the movie Wind Chill, which isn't very well known, I think. It came out in 2007, so it's not really considered, I think, a classic. It is for me. It is in my eyes. But it's still a pretty good movie.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I didn't know about this movie until you brought it to my attention. And we'll get into the time that I watched it, but I think it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I liked it. Nothing too crazy.
Right.
Nothing insane.
Right.
There is construction going on today.
Yeah.
And we're sitting right next to the window. So at some point you hear some gnarly construction.
And it sounds like we're in the eye of the tornado.
It's because
we are.
It's most likely because we're spinning in the middle of a tornado.
Yeah.
But we're so committed to continue this. All right, before we dissect this movie a bit, let's get some live stuff out of the way. It hasn't been too long since we last saw each other.
Not.
But tell me what you've been up to.
Nothing too crazy. I'm on Thanksgiving break, so I don't have school at all this week, and I don't work because I am unemployed.
Because I'm still unemployed at the moment.
However, for my people who know, it is currently World Cup season, and I'm very excited.
You're enjoying that?
Huh?
You're enjoying it?
Oh, 100%.
I love that.
I was fortunate enough to live watch
Yeah.
the Mexico versus Poland
Nice.
game yesterday.
You were about to tell me all about it,
Yeah.
and then she got very offended when I told her I didn't keep up with it. So
I don't appreciate that.
well,
Anyway.
all right.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about.
Okay.
But what have you been up to,
All
Monica?
right. Nothing. Depression.
Okay.
Depression, anxiety.
Cool.
Kicking my butt recently, but you know what? We thrive.
We thrive.
We thrive. How? No idea, but we get through it. And that's really just how the past couple of days have been. So I've been enjoying that. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into this movie. So if you haven't watched Wind Chill before, here is the basic premise. So 2 college students share a ride to go home for the holidays, but when a motorist or someone drives them off the road, they become stranded sort of on the side of this empty road, and then they struggle to find out that the night has more in store for them than just a freezing night. It was a little cray. So this movie is in the category of horror and supernatural. So the anatomy for our episode would be as usual, where we talk about like a scary scale and satisfactory scale and things like that. However, there's only technically 1 kill in this movie, so we can't really do a favorite kill. It's not our typical favorite slasher type. So, but you, Jess, can start us off by telling us what your favorite scene was, and then your experience watching it for the first time.
Yeah, so favorite scene. That's a tough one. I would probably go with again, this movie doesn't have character names.
It really doesn't.
Girl and boy and highway patrol and all of that. So
we will be going based off of like the actor's name.
Yeah. So I like the scene where Emily Blunt goes up to that utility pole.
That was terrifying.
It's terrifying.
No, it was awful.
And tries to call for help and
Yeah.
all of that. But because it's like super suspenseful and like eerie, and you're waiting for that song to play, and just the anticipation of hearing "Rocking Around
the Christmas tree." Who'd known that you would hate such a Christmas jingle?
Honestly.
Like a Christmas
And-
jingle would bring so much anticipation.
No, I really, really like that scene, and it's nighttime, it's cold, it's dark. She's like risking her life to go up there, and I've always really liked that scene.
I love
and again, great use of music in a film.
Yeah.
I now always associate that song with the movie.
I was gonna say, and it ties in because it's right before Christmas, so
Yeah.
it ties in a little bit of like the Christmas, the winter, and like everything, but all like the sides that you don't want to be experiencing of the holidays.
And then first time watching it, I would not be able to tell you because I wouldn't be able to tell you the first time I watched it. I know it was definitely before 2013, which is, I know, a really random year, but it's because I have a vivid memory of my sister and I watching it and already having that tradition of us watching it every, winter.
Yeah.
I obviously, since I was young when I first watched it, I was terrified of the film. I thought it was super creepy, but I obviously liked it enough to want to watch it every year.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something. Well, so I watched it a couple of nights ago for the first time, like literally 2 nights ago. And all I can think about when I first watched it for the first time was how much of a bitch Emily Blunt's character was, and and how cold and freezing I was feeling from just watching them freeze to death. Literally.
No, every time, I kid you not, every time my sister and I watch it, we're like, we need to get ourselves some hot cocoa.
Yeah,
Or
some hot cocoa. But it was really fun to watch. I wasn't necessarily scared too
Right.
much. There was a jump scare that I'll talk about here in a minute, but nonetheless, I really liked the movie. It definitely gave early 2000s with her outfit and his facial features too. Mostly because to me he looks like a combo of Michael Cera and Jesse Eisenberg.
I've never thought about that,
Oh,
but
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's 100%. And I honestly wasn't even sure if I wanted to root for him or to be completely creeped out by him and his character.
I think I was creeped out by him. Here's the
Oh,
thing.
he does give creepy vibes.
Here's the thing. I'm a stalker.
You're a star.
One thing about me is I'm a stalker.
Stalker.
Yeah,
I thought you said
stalker.
star.
That too. I am a
that
stalker.
too. Yes, ma'am.
I am a stalker. However, I don't know. I definitely think he could have
Gone about it a different
yeah,
way.
he could have approached it differently. And sure, he was afraid of rejection.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, Emily Blunt's hot as fuck, but
100%
I would also
true.
be afraid of rejection.
Oh, 100%.
So I get it, but like, dude, if it just wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be. You know what I mean? So personally,
like if he would have shot his shot
Yeah.
a different way and then she said no.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Okay, yeah.
So-
So I guess she was just so mean.
yeah.
But,
I mean, put
better
yourself in her shoes.
So get this. The way I was thinking about this is what made me contemplate about this movie, that I was like, I don't understand who to root for and who not to root for. And then at the end of the movie, you're rooting for both of them. Early 2000s. So she willingly took a ride with a stranger,
Yeah.
first of all. So, okay. All right. Cool. The least she could have done is been like, hey, thanks for giving me a ride. But the first interaction that she had with this guy was be bitchy because his trunk was full.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, he's moving out. He was like, sorry, they're kicking me out of my apartment. Like, I
Yeah.
have to put my stuff. And then she started being like automatically just very, very bitchy. And even through the first encounters that they had before they even went to the gas station, she was just so rude. And then he was just very like, and then he started talking about like, the least you can do is entertain me while I'm driving. And then that's when I was like, but also I would have sat in the back.
That's true.
Because one, I don't know this guy.
Yeah.
Two, I would have sat behind his seat too. That way he would, if he tried to do something, I can just whip out something and try to,
Right.
choke
Yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
It's things like this that I think about that I'm like,
Here's the thing.
Stay around.
We are Latinas. Therefore, we will think a little bit more.
a little bit more and a little bit
Yeah.
further.
Yeah.
That was a very nice way to say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as far as favorite scene, it was hard. But if I had to choose one, it would have to be when the police officer knocks on their window and they think that they're being saved, but it turns out to be the asshole of a cop ghost who was terrorizing people on the bridge and everything. But I think what I liked about it was that when he looked like he was about to put Emily Blunt into the car, Ashton Holmes' character, he tries to defend her and he tries to beat him with a crowbar, but then it's like a force sort of appears and it kind of warps them back into reality.
Yeah.
And it's them again sitting in the car. I think it was really cool to see because I think at that point, up to that point, you don't really know what it is that they're seeing. Like you don't know if they're seeing. At first, I thought they were seeing cult people because of the priests that were walking
Same,
around.
yeah. Oh
I
my
was
God,
like,
that
oh, it's
scene-
cult. It's cult stuff. Great.
That scene scared the freaking
Yeah, it was pretty.
heck out of me.
There's just something about religion in horror
Yeah.
movies. It's
Yeah.
creepy. And then also with like the guy that she kept seeing walk around. So then I started getting like ghosty vibes, but I wasn't sure. And then the part that I liked but hated was that his hands were practically glued to the bar. So then she was like, "This is gonna hurt," and then like she rips the crowbar out of his hands, and his hands are like completely cut up and
Yeah.
like
blistered, bloody.
Yeah, it was disgusting. and very, very scary. But the jump scare that I was talking about was the one that got me was that she's kind of sitting against the car door, and then the cop breaks, and then he like takes her out.
Yeah.
I wasn't really expecting a jump scare at that time, and which is why I think it got me, but it was pretty scary.
Yeah.
So I appreciated the one jump scare that I got received from this, this movie.
That I feel like in general the movie itself, like a good word to describe like it in horror is, I don't know, maybe creepy or eerie. I
Like
feel like creepy is
eerie.
overused, but I think this is a
I think
perfect.
supernatural is like the best way
Supernatural.
because I feel supernatural's not really a feeling, but it's more of like a theme.
Yeah.
Like it's not paranormal activity,
Right.
but it's not.
It's not like a.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
13 Ghosts. You know?
Yeah.
Like all of the ghosts have their backstories as to why they keep haunting the area that they're haunting. I mean, that goes for a lot of supernatural stories, but like specifically, they kind of dive into each of their stories and they kind of tell you why it is that they're so angry or upset, or if ones are actually not that evil and things like that. So it reminded me of 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
Just in the winter,
I see that.
and unfortunately not with Matthew Lillard.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But getting a quick fun fact out of the way. So after the crash, the scenes that were filmed inside of the car were actually shot on a stage.
I love that.
While the exterior scenes were shot on an actual cold, snowy road with like trailers and stuff like on location to keep the cast and the crew warm in between the takes.
I would have hoped so.
Right?
They're like, all right, so we're going to go out here for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Y'all just bring big jackets. That's going to be your warmth.
Like ever since I remember one of the first times I ever watched it, I was like, oh, this has to be, like this can't be real snow. Like they
I see
couldn't
what
have
you
been,
mean.
out.
Like they couldn't have done that.
You know?
They do that. I feel like sometimes you can obviously tell when it's like fake snow, and then sometimes it's hard to tell. And then, there are a lot of productions that just say, fuck it, let's just go all out and, go to a location that's like that. So what you had mentioned earlier is that I love when I Googled the cast, I saw that they had no names. I was like very confused until I watched it. And then I realized that they really don't have names for anyone. But I feel like if you don't look in the cast, if you kind of go into this movie blind and you don't even really notice it because there's just so much dialogue like throughout the film that you're just kind of like at the end, like who's who?
Yeah.
But regardless, I think this duo did amazing. Obviously, Emily Blunt, she is amazing. Martin Donovan, he did great as well. He's the one like at playing a villain. I feel like I've seen him in something else where he plays a villain, and I think he plays it a little too well. He's the
Yeah.
cop.
He, I think, is on Tenet, the one that came out like a few years ago. I haven't watched
Seen
it,
Tenet.
but I think the name sounds familiar.
I was confusing him for a minute for the dad in One Tree Hill, but that's not him. That is not him. And then obviously I was thinking that I've seen Ashton Holmes in something, but then I looked up what he's in and I was like, nope, it's just because he looks like a combo of those two lovely faces that I saw in every single movie.
Yeah.
from like early mid 2000s.
He, and honestly, kind of bad on my part.
He was
but-
the first Michael Cera.
He
And
was-
the first
yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah. No, I honestly didn't do my research too in depth, but
Yeah.
he kind of looks very British.
He does look British. He does look like if I were to watch an interview. He's not.
I don't know.
Let's look at.
About to
Maybe we
look it
can.
up.
Yeah,
Hold
we can look it
on.
up.
Oh, he's an American actor, best known for the role of Jack Stahl in A History of Violence.
No.
Well, we know him from Wind Chill, so
I feel
beat
like
that.
I've also seen him. You know who he also looks like?
Who
Brendan Fletcher vibes.
does look a lot like him.
It does. He's just a combo.
Honestly, just like, and I say this with the nicest,
with all due respect, all white
generic
men,
white
generic
man.
white men all look the same. They all look like a combination of each other.
Yeah, and you know what? That's just my type.
And you know what? Controversial opinion. Now that
Yeah.
we're talking about generic white men.
Okay.
We were talking about actors last night at work, and we were talking about how one of my coworkers is like, I have a crush on Ryan Gosling. And I was like, okay, that's Ryan Gosling. He's amazing. I love him. Yeah, see? Yeah. But I think he's beautiful. Anyway,
Yeah,
I don't find Channing Tatum handsome.
neither do I.
Okay. Neither does Melody. And I was like, is that a Leapy Jeepy thing?
It
Or
is.
What is it?
No, it
Is
is.
it? Because, well, the thing is that he has handsome features. Like,
Yeah.
he has He has the potential to be handsome, but I don't find him attractive. I don't think he's all that to
Question.
me.
Brad Pitt. No.
He's okay.
Same.
Again, he has the features.
It's funny because I think it's, very, very handsome people. Unfortunately, it's a no for me.
Yeah.
But you're very handsome.
Yeah.
Just not for me.
Everyone has their type.
Yeah.
We don't shame.
We don't.
We don't shame. We should, but we don't.
They
I'm
do be
kidding.
shaming me though.
Oh yeah, we shame you 100%
Yeah.
because you like all of you like all of the types that no one goes for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
yet they still don't go for me.
It's just like, what am I doing
I'm
wrong?
like, I'm the only one who likes you and you don't
You don't like me back.
you don't like me back.
How
But anyway,
unfortunate. Any hoozles.
Getting back
Getting back on track. Sorry,
Yeah.
generic white man. That's a whole conversation.
Thank you, Ashton Holmes, for that for helping us in that. But yeah, speaking of him.
Ashton Holmes and his
Yes.
many faces.
Yes. Little fun fact. In one of the first scripts, his character, Guy, survived a little longer. So, spoiler alert already. Until the confrontation with the cop while they were in the tow truck. But the writers thought that it made more sense that he died earlier on and came back as a ghost.
Okay.
Personally, I like how the movie ended.
I thought the ending was
I
good.
do think it would have been interesting to see him live a little bit long. Here's the thing. I always feel bad whenever people die in movies. Obviously, unless they're bad. If they're bad, I'm like, hell yeah. Like, that's what you get. But if they're not, like, terrible people,
Yeah.
then
I
I'm
see what you
like,
mean.
damn, I feel bad.
Like, damn.
Yeah. So, again,
Could have
I
lived a little longer.
I think it would have been cool to see him live a little bit longer, even live in general. But
In this case, the virgin dies first.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yep. That's how it goes.
Yeah, they went against all
They
the
went against the horror
rules.
movie rules. Yeah.
Love that.
That would have been interesting, I think, to see. The only thing is that what would have happened if he did live longer? Like, what kind of scenes would they have come up with if he did live longer?
That's
I guess
interesting.
makes sense. I do like the ending to this movie. I think they chose well. It was sad to see because she did the whole like, I'll be right back, and she comes back and he's dead.
Yeah.
And she's like, I told you I'd be back. I told you. And that's what I was like, you hated him like a few hours ago.
Now
been a good
moving
ending.
on to a little Would You Rather?
Yeah.
So, would you rather? You're in the situation. You're stuck in a car during a blizzard, with no heat,
With someone you barely
with
know.
someone you barely know. You decide to go back to the gas station, but you notice as you start walking that you're just walking in circles, and then eventually you see your car again, and then you see your car again, and all of
Okay.
that. So
Okay.
it's a never-ending cycle of getting to the store.
Okay.
So you're just
okay.
going in circles.
Okay.
Or encounter the apparitions that they do and think that you're getting helped, and then bam, it kind of like does a little
like a
cut back to reality.
Yeah.
And you're stuck, So it's basically their situation or attempt to,
attempt to leave, but you can't.
but you can't. Think you're getting helped. And then bam.
Well,
you're
that
not.
sucks because I don't want to be in either situation. I don't know how I would get out of either situation.
Yeah. I think they're both very awful
Oh, they're both awful.
scenarios. I think, I don't know, because if you're walking around attempting to get back to the gas station, you're out, you're cold, you're walking forever because you think that you're getting there, but really you're just ending up in circles.
But I feel like it's the same, kind of the same thing with the other one, because
Same.
like you're going to get hope, and you're like, oh my god, like these spirits are actually trying to help me, or I'm trying to, I'm not going to be stuck here forever,
Yeah.
and then
Bam.
you die because they try to like sacrifice you or something.
I think I would stay in the car and pretend.
I think I would stay in the car and just freeze to death.
Yeah.
I
I think
hope that
I
I can make it by sunup.
I think I would rather encounter the ghosts and the apparitions and think that I'm getting helped, and then in reality I'm not.
I feel it's a lose-lose scenario.
Yeah, it is.
It's that's a toughie.
Because here's the thing: if you stay in the car and you encounter these apparitions, at least you're inside a car.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Because if we would have gone, so we had a couple things, and I kind of let Jessica made up her mind, but I'm like, what if you encountered things that you could try to fight off, like a pack of wolves? They were in the woods. Like, what if they had a pack of wolves they had to physically fight off? Or if you rather encounter ghosts
Or a zombie.
or a zombie, like something you can physically fight.
Right.
Because then you can do the whole like distraction and someone distracts and the
Yeah.
other one flees to go. If one of the scenarios was for me to physically fight off something, I think I would try.
Yeah.
Like if it was a wolf, we don't have food in the car, so we can't entice it with something.
Right.
All
We'd
it
have to
wants is-
sacrifice the shortest friend. I'm so sorry, Monica.
That's not going to be me, because I will be wearing platforms that are like 12 inches, basically stilts.
Great that you can throw your shoe.
Use my shoe as a weapon.
Yeah.
But as far as the first scenario, I guess I would try to just wait until sunup and encounter.
I'm surprised that they actually didn't put wolves or
Wolves?
any other type of.
That's what I was
bigger-
gonna say. That's kind of where I thought it was going to. I thought but it said supernatural, so I was
Yeah.
like, okay, that's gonna
a supernatural wolf.
a supernatural
I will
wolf.
say, I will say this film, and I think I'm just saying it because of the cold and the. I feel like this movie sort of reminded me of Frozen. Have you watched Frozen?
The cartoon.
Yeah, the Disney. the Disney.
Oh my god, wait. Hold on. I was actually looking into I was trying to look for interpretations of some things for this movie for whatever reason, like I do with any movie.
Right.
And one of the, you know how like Google at the very bottom gives you like alternative questions that you can ask?
Yeah.
And one of the questions at the bottom was, is Frozen scary?
Aw.
And I started like laughing because I was like, it's a Disney movie.
But you know which one I'm talking about though, right?
like the first one where they're like
No,
encountering.
girl. It's not the cartoon.
Oh, I don't know. Then
You've
I don't
never
know.
heard
I
of
thought you were
Frozen?
genuinely talking about the Disney movie.
Oh no.
Oh no.
They were probably talking about Frozen. I don't want to give too much away, especially to you because you haven't watched it, I'm assuming. But again, it came out around that same time. It's a group of friends. I think they go to Colorado.
Okay.
And they get stuck on a ski. What's that thing? Like the ski swing? I don't really know. What
Oh,
they're
like the
called.
box thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I've seen previews to this.
Yeah,
Is this
yeah,
on
yeah.
Hulu?
Maybe.
I feel like I've seen something.
Anyway, that
similar.
movie traumatized me as a kid.
Really?
Every movie traumatized me as a kid. If
Uh-huh.
you guys haven't caught on, but and that's probably the reason why I am the way that I am. But it reminded me a lot of that one. I think I'm just saying that because they're both cold and snowy and scurry.
Okay, I can give Frozen a chance. That
Yeah.
sounds pretty cool.
Now, to rate the movie, since this one is kind of considered horror, we will have a scary scale.
A scary
A scary. Okay. So, again, if you don't know, we rate the movies by, like a scary scale and a satisfactory scale. Monica, you go first.
All right. So as far as my scary scale, I'm gonna give it a solid 3 out of 10. It wasn't. It was. I feel like it was more of a thriller. I don't know what made it horror. I think what made it horror was like.
The apparitions, maybe.
Yeah, and we don't see gore, but there's like insinuation of a lot of killing
Yeah.
from like the cop and stuff.
Right.
Maybe that's why, but I feel like it was a lot more of a suspense thriller, supernatural. So wasn't that scary to me. I'm only giving it a 3. Actually, I'm bumping it down to a 2
Okay.
because really the 2 comes from the jump scare that I got and then just the anticipation that I get. But you can get anticipation with thriller and horror, so
Yeah.
2.5. All right. As far as my satisfactory scale, I'm giving it a solid 7 out of 10. It was a really good early 2000s movie. I think it had all of the right elements for what I would consider a thriller, like supernatural suspense type movie. The plot itself was pretty good. I liked it. I thought it was good. I kind of like that they didn't give names because they were just like, this is what this movie's about.
Yeah. Period. You don't need anything else.
Exactly. Like stay connected to the plot. Overall good movie. Not a complete favorite, but like it was an overall good movie. So yes.
Love that.
Yeah. What
I'm
about
glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
For me, I think scary scale now honestly, same. Probably a 2 or 3.
2 or 3, yeah.
Ask me like 7 years ago, probably like a 5.5.
Yeah.
No, but now, you know, I've watched this movie so many times that I know what happens. Again, that scene of her going up to the utility pole will
Yeah.
always give me anxiety, even though I know what happens.
Yeah.
And then Satisfactory scale, again, I grew up with it. Can't complain. I think I'm gonna give it like an 8.
Yeah.
8.5
Yeah, it's a good movie.
out of 10.
I liked it. I think for the people who haven't seen it before, I think it's a good watch. Like, even now, it's not something that's like super outdated
Right.
either. Yes, the style of like the car and clothing and like verbiage and stuff, yeah, it's a little outdated, but like the plot itself is something that's definitely something, you know, that could happen.
Yeah.
Ghost and all, you never know.
Yeah.
Wherever you're
Stalker.
where
Definitely.
Stalker. But yeah, overall good movie. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend to find somewhere to look for it. Definitely grab a blanket and some hot cocoa.
Yes.
I did not take that advice from Jessica, and I was very, very chilly.
Yeah.
So I got
she suffered.
psychosomatic symptoms of having frostbite.
For real. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Per usual, we will be posting this Would You Rather on Instagram, and I believe Facebook does polls, I think. I don't know.
Maybe.
But do look forward to that because we always love seeing what you guys choose. So now, time to talk about what we will be talking about next week. Okay.
Drum roll, please.
The Lodge.
Crazy ass movie.
The Lodge is so good.
It's
I
crazy.
don't think it is really crazy, actually. When I watched it, it just infuriated me more on how much...
Religion.
No.
Oh.
Yes, 100%. But about how much I think the words "fuck them kids."
Oh, 100%.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids. Very awesome. The Lodge is a very, very good psychological thriller that is very fitting for the Christmas season. It's also something that takes place before Christmas, so it's very fitting, and we are excited to talk about it. But yeah, that's what we'll be talking about. If you haven't actually seen that one, it's actually on Hulu, which I feel like a lot of people have Hulu as a streaming service, and it is free to watch it on there. If you have a subscription for it, I would highly, 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 highly recommend you watch it if you haven't already, because I think it's an amazing movie.
It's crazy.
It's immensely crazy.
It's psychological, so obviously you know how I
hated
felt.
it. You hated it, but loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get to talking about that movie because
Oh yeah.
it's so good.
It was a movie.
It was a movie. We need that on t-shirts. It was a movie.
It was a movie.
It was a movie.
It's gonna be our tagline.
That's gonna be our tagline.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But yes, once again, thank you guys so much for listening, and please feel free to keep listening so we can expand within the horror community.
Yes.
We definitely would like to reach and connect with as many of you as possible, as many horror fans as we can. Our social media will be in the description of this episode.
Yeah, we do have quite a bit of ideas, but we would like to expand on that. We would like to expand on those ideas, but it's not necessarily possible just yet unless we grow as a community. So we would really appreciate if you tell your friends about us, because even if they don't like horror, we can convert them.
We want merch.
We want
to be guests at conventions.
We want to be guests at conventions, but we also want to have guests on our podcast.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to do that when we have a good amount of listeners.
And
so that
one of our first guests is going to be an up-and-coming voice actress.
she is, and I think you guys would love her so much. I think she's going to be a reoccurring guest.
Yes.
She is great with...
We just know that me and this person that we're talking about, we will have a British accent off.
On and off. The
Off.
entire...
Like we're going to do it like...
Oh, like y'all are
competition.
gonna have a competition
to
about
see
whose British accent is better.
And if there's a British person listening, you'll be the judge.
And they will say, off with their heads.
Off with both
Immediately.
their heads. Immediately.
Immediately.
They all
Off the
banned.
air.
They all banned from England.
I will need photos of them to show.
Yes.
Yes.
It's okay because I can do a little Irish.
Please don't.
Okay.
But anyway, let's wrap up this episode.
I told you guys during our hiatus that we were gonna start doing a YouTube channel.
Ah, yeah.
And listen, life got in the way.
Life
Life
got in the way. Oh, we do have a YouTube channel. There's just nothing on it. So
Yeah.
feel free to follow it or subscribe to it if you would like. But
because
the
there
content's
will be
just not there
something
yet.
there eventually.
That's true.
I think we're probably gonna post, our audio
Soon.
and
Yeah, just the
stuff
audio at first.
with some background images.
I would like to get a BBL before we start
Oh.
actually recording.
I'm sorry. Did you just say a BBL? Did you just say a BBL?
Yes, ma'am. I want
A BBL?
a BBL. I want to get a whole BBL before
You mean
Uh-huh.
a Brazilian butt lift?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I want to get me a whole BBL before I actually put myself on camera.
Honestly,
Like
same.
that. You're like, wait, I think you're onto something.
Yeah. Some
Yes,
Botox
ma'am.
here and there, some lip injections,
Mm-hmm.
I may be Mexican, but I did get the colonizer lips.
Oh, I love that. For you being a Latina, you can't have everything.
Right.
They got to give you some. They got to give you some of your ancestors.
Freaking colonizers.
Exactly. Anywho,
Anyway.
oh my gosh. But yeah, that is going to wrap up this episode. We really appreciate you listening. We've been your host, Monica.
And I'm Jessica.
Stay safe
And
stay spooky. And also stay warm. Burr.
Oof, that was scary. I can't wait to come back next week.